Welcome to my channel Super Rare Coins. Today is best top 3 coins. Please don't skip this video. So let's get it started. The 1 penny coin of 1988 belongs to Britain's decimal coinage series, which was officially introduced on February 15, 1971, the day known as Decimal Day. On that day, the United Kingdom abandoned its old currency system of pound shillings and pence, pound SD, and moved to a decimal system where 1 pound equals 100 new pence. Among the new denominations was the penny, 1p, one of the smallest but most frequently used coins in everyday transactions. By 1988, the decimal system had been in circulation for 17 years, and the penny had become a well-established part of British commerce, continuing a tradition of small denomination coinage that stretched back more than 1,000 years. The obverse, front, of the 1988 penny carries the third definitive portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, created by sculptor Raphael Maklauf, FRSA. This portrait had been introduced in 1985 and remained in use until 1997. Maklauf's design shows the Queen facing right, wearing the George IV state diadem, a regal crown decorated with diamonds, pearls, crosses, and floral motifs representing England, rose, Scotland, thistle, and Ireland, shamrock. Unlike earlier portraits which showed a more subdued or youthful monarch, Maklauf deliberately sought to create an image of majesty and timelessness. His portrait depicts Elizabeth II with softer features, but idealized, almost sculptural, giving her an aura of dignity and continuity. Surrounding the portrait is the Latin Elizabeth II D.G. Reg. F.A.D. 1988, an abbreviation of Elizabeth II Dei Gratia Regina Fidei Defensatrix, meaning Elizabeth II by the grace of God, Queen Defender of the Faith. This formula links Britain's modern monarch to centuries of royal tradition and Christian guardianship. On the reverse, back of the coin is the enduring design created by Christopher Ironside, chosen in the late 1960s when decimalization was being planned. The design features a crowned portcullis with chains, a symbol deeply associated with the Palace of Westminster and with British parliamentary authority. The portcullis, originally a medieval defensive gate used in castles, had long since become an emblem of the UK Parliament. The royal crown placed above it emphasizes the unity of monarchy and government under the constitutional framework. Beneath this device appears the denomination written in words, 1 penny, with the numeral 1 below the portcullis. The imagery is simple but powerfully symbolic. It ties together the ideas of protection, authority, and the constitutional bond between Crown and Parliament, all represented on Britain's smallest coin. In terms of specifications, the 1988 penny was struck in bronze and alloy, consisting of 97% copper, 2.5% zinc, and 0.5% tin. This traditional composition had been used since decimalization began in 1971 and continued until 1992, when rising copper prices forced the Royal Mint to switch to cheaper copper. Plated steel. The bronze 1988 penny weighs 3.56 grams, has a diameter of 20.3 millimeters, a thickness of 1.65 millimeters, and a plain, smooth edge. Its reddish-brown color is distinctive of bronze, although coins in circulation often develop a darker patina over time due to oxidation. Because it was produced in large numbers, the 1988 issue is a typical example of mid-period bronze decimal pennies. From a historical and cultural perspective, the year 1988 sits in the late years of the reign of Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher, a period marked by significant political and economic transformation in the UK. The penny, though small in value, was still an essential unit in everyday life. Prices in shops frequently included pennies, and children in particular valued the coin for savings, piggy banks, and small purchases such as sweets. The phrase, "a penny for your thoughts," or the tradition of lucky pennies in weddings and gifts, reflected the coin's cultural place as more than just money. The 1988 penny therefore represented not just currency but a continuing symbol of everyday life in Britain. From a numismatic standpoint, the 1988 1 penny is not considered a rare coin. Millions were struck at the Royal Mint in Llantrisant, Wales for circulation. As such, they are very common in worn condition. However, examples in pristine, brilliant, uncirculated, BU, quality, or the special proof issues included in collector sets are more valuable and desirable. Proof coins, struck with polished dies and multiple strikes, feature frosted devices and mirror-like backgrounds, making them a striking display piece for collectors. For those assembling a complete date run of decimal pennies, the 1988 coin is a necessary inclusion. The symbolism of the coin is multilayered. On one side, the Queen embodies continuity, authority, and the stability of the nation. The Maklauf portrait, with its sculptural quality, emphasizes timeless monarchy rather than personal likeness, underscoring Elizabeth II's role as an institution rather than just a person. On the reverse, the crowned portcullis ties the coin to Parliament law and governance, suggesting that even the smallest unit of money in Britain is linked to the great institutions that govern society. Together obverse and reverse link monarchy, parliament, and the people in a tangible everyday object. Economically, the penny in 1988 had already lost some of its purchasing power compared with its 1971 introduction due to inflation. However, it remained a crucial part of transactions. It was commonly used in vending machines, parking meters, and telephones. Retailers still priced goods in such a way that pennies were indispensable, and so the coin remained deeply embedded in daily commerce. Despite debates that would later arise about phasing out low-denomination coins in 1988, the penny was firmly established as a cornerstone of the currency system. The legacy of the 1988 penny lies in its role as part of the Bronze Era of decimal coinage, 1971–1992. Collectors value this period for its traditional alloy and for its continuity of design before later cost-cutting changes, while individually common, the 1988 penny represents a time when Britain was modernizing yet still holding to traditions in monarchy and parliament, all encapsulated in a tiny coin. For collectors and historians alike, the 1988 penny is a small but meaningful artifact of its age. Next, the 1 penny coin of the United Kingdom, dated 1999, belongs to the decimal coinage series introduced in Britain on February 15, 1971, when the country switched from the old pound SD, pound shillings and pence, system to a modern decimal system where £1 equals 100 new pence. This was a monumental change in British monetary history, simplifying calculations and aligning the UK with most of the world. The 1p denomination was among the smallest units, but it carried symbolic and practical importance as a tool for exact pricing in shops, vending, and everyday commerce. By 1999, decimalization had been in use for nearly 3 decades, and the penny had become a fixture of British economic and cultural life. On the obverse side of the 1999 penny is the official portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, Britain's longest-serving monarch at the time. The year 1999 marked the introduction of the 4th definitive portrait of the Queen, created by sculptor Ian Rank Broadley FRBS, which had been adopted in 1998. This effigy differs greatly from earlier versions, as Rank Broadley chose to present the Queen in a more realistic and less idealized style. In this portrait, Elizabeth II faces to the right and wears the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, one of her most iconic jewels. The portrait is noticeably larger than earlier ones, filling more of the coin's surface, symbolizing a matured, experienced monarch entering the new millennium. Surrounding her image is the Latin, Elizabeth II D.G. Reg. F.A.D. 1999, which expands to Elizabeth II Dei Gratia Regina Fidei Defensatrix, meaning Elizabeth II, by the grace of God, Queen Defender of the Faith. This formula connects modern coinage to centuries of English tradition, combining monarchy, religion, and sovereignty. The reverse side, or tails, of the coin carries the enduring design by Christopher Ironside, chosen during the late 1960s when decimal coinage was being prepared. For the 1p coin, Ironside created the crown portcullis with chains, a centuries-old symbol linked to the Palace of Westminster and the British Parliament. The portcullis, a type of heavy lattice gate used in medieval castles, here represents security, authority, and governance. Crowned with the royal crown, it symbolizes the union of the crown and parliament in the constitutional framework of the United Kingdom. Below this device is the denomination spelled out as 1 penny, with the numeral 1, beneath the portcullis. The design is simple yet deeply symbolic, reminding every citizen handling the coin of the historical continuity of monarchy and parliament. In terms of physical characteristics, the 1999 penny belongs to the copper-plated steel issues introduced in 1992. Before that year, 1p coins had been struck in bronze, 97% copper, 2.5% zinc, 0.5% tin, but rising copper prices forced a change. Thus, from 1992 onwards, the penny was produced from 94% steel, plated with a thin layer of copper, which gave it the same appearance as earlier bronze coins, but at far lower cost to the Royal Mint. The coin weighs 3.56 grams, has a diameter of 20.3 millimeters, and a thickness of 1.65 millimeters, with a plain, smooth edge. In circulated condition, these coins often show magnetic properties because of their steel core, something that distinguishes them from the earlier bronze issues. From a historical and cultural perspective, the 1999 1 penny coin represents a period of stability in Britain. The late 1990s were years of transition into a new millennium, marked by optimism, technological progress, and anticipation of the year 2000. While small in value, the penny was crucial in daily life. Shops priced goods down to exact pennies, and children collected them in piggy banks. They were also part of traditional customs, such as lucky pennies, often gifted at weddings or kept for good fortune. The penny thus held not just financial value but cultural meaning. From a numismatic standpoint, the 1999 penny is considered a common circulation coin, with tens of millions struck at the Royal Mint in Llantrisant, Wales. There are no known rare varieties of the regular circulation strike from this year, making it accessible to collectors. However, examples in pristine, brilliant uncirculated, BU, condition, or the proof strikes issued in 1999 collector sets hold greater appeal and value. Proof coins feature mirror-like fields and frosted devices struck multiple times with polished dies to create a perfect finish, making them desirable for serious collectors. The symbolism of the coin is multilayered. On one side, the queen represents continuity, stability, and the unity of the nation. Her portrait reflects both her role as monarch and her evolution over the decades, with Rank Broadley's version showing her maturity and authority. On the reverse, the crowned portcullis represents parliament, government, and democracy, while the crown above it emphasizes that authority flows in union with the monarchy. Together, the obverse and reverse create a dialogue between tradition and governance, monarchy and democracy, linking the smallest coin of the land to the greatest institutions of the nation. Economically, the purchasing power of the penny had declined since 1971 due to inflation, but in 1999 it still played a role in commerce, vending, and exact change. While individually of little value, pennies collectively formed an essential part of circulation, often given in change or used in large quantities. They were also key for vending machines and payphones of the era. Despite debates in later years about eliminating the penny due to its low value in 1999, it remained indispensable in daily transactions. Next, the 1 penny coin of the United Kingdom, dated 2000, belongs to the decimal coinage system, first introduced in Britain on February 15, 1971, a day popularly known as Decimal Day. Before this reform, Britain used the old pre-decimal system, which was based on pounds, shillings, and pence, in an arrangement that was complicated for calculations and commerce. With decimalization, the system was simplified so that £1 equaled 100 pence, bringing the UK in line with most international currencies. The 1p coin was one of the essential denominations issued at the start of decimalization and continued into the 21st century, with only subtle changes in its metal composition and portraiture over time. By the year 2000, it had become one of the most common coins in daily British life, familiar to millions in shops, public transport, and household use. On the obverse side, the head side, the coin of the year 2000 bears the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, who was by then the longest reigning monarch alive in Europe. The specific effigy used in 2000 was the fourth definitive portrait of the Queen, designed by the sculptor Ian Rank Broadley FRBS and introduced in 1998. In this portrayal, the Queen is shown facing right, wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara, a jewel that had become one of her most iconic pieces. Unlike earlier portraits, Rank Broadley's depiction is larger and more realistic, showing the Queen with maturity and dignity, marking her status as a long-serving monarch in her 70s. Around the portrait runs the Latin legend, Elizabeth II D.G. Reg. F.A.D. 2000, which expands to Elizabeth II Dei Gratia Regina Fidei Defensatrix, meaning Elizabeth II by the grace of God, Queen Defender of the Faith. The year of issue 2000 completes the reverse side, the tails side, of the 1 penny coin. At that time displayed the design created by Christopher Ironside, who had been chosen in the late 1960s to create the decimal coinage designs. For the 1p coin, he selected an emblem symbolic of British governance, a portcullis with chains surmounted by a crown. The portcullis design is historically significant because it was long used as a symbol of the British Parliament and of Westminster. The crowned portcullis also appears in the emblem of the Palace of Westminster, making it a fitting image for a coin that was meant to circulate widely among the people. The design is simple yet powerful, linking the daily use of money to the centuries-old traditions of British political institutions. Beneath the portcullis appears the denomination 1 penny, with the numeral 1 positioned centrally. In terms of physical characteristics, the 1 penny coin of 2000 was minted in copper-plated steel, a change introduced in 1992 due to rising copper prices. From 1971 until 1991, 1p coins had been made of bronze, 97% copper, 2.5% zinc, and 0.5% tin, but the new copper-plated steel coins were cheaper to produce while maintaining the same appearance. They weigh 3.56 grams, measure 20.3 millimeters in diameter, and have a thickness of 1.65 millimeters. Their edge is plain and smooth. Though small, the penny is instantly recognizable due to its reddish color and its distinctive portcullis reverse. From a historical perspective, the year 2000 was a time of optimism in Britain, marking the beginning of a new millennium. The 1 penny coin dated 2000 is part of that symbolic turn of history, representing continuity of the monarchy and the state across centuries. Coins often act as time capsules, and a penny from 2000 carries the legacy of Britain's history into a new age of technology and globalization. At that time, coins were still heavily used in everyday transactions, particularly low denominations like the 1p, which were important for exact pricing in shops and for use in vending and pay machines. From a numismatic standpoint, the 2001 penny is generally considered a common circulation coin with millions struck at the Royal Mint for daily use. Because it was not a commemorative year and no unusual varieties were released into circulation, the standard 2000 penny is not rare. However, it remains significant to collectors who aim to complete year-by-year sets of decimal coinage coins in brilliant uncirculated (BU) condition or as part of official proof sets issued by the Royal Mint for collectors in 2000 hold greater value than circulated examples. Proof coins feature sharper details, mirror-like fields, and frosted reliefs, and they are struck with special care for presentation purposes. The symbolism of the 1p coin is worth considering in more depth. The portcullis design ties money to Parliament, highlighting democracy and governance. The Queen's portrait symbolizes continuity, stability, and national unity, reminding citizens that the coinage is issued under the authority of the Crown. The Latin inscriptions preserve Britain's deep historical connections to tradition, religion, and sovereignty. Even the use of copper color is symbolic. Copper coinage has long been associated with small but essential values, emphasizing that even the smallest coin plays a role in daily commerce and national identity. By the year 2000, the role of the penny in commerce was still highly relevant. Although inflation had reduced its purchasing power since its introduction in 1971, the penny remained crucial for rounding transactions to the exact amount for use in vending machines and for cultural traditions like penny for your thoughts or children's piggy banks. The coin thus had both practical and cultural significance, bridging economic life and everyday symbolism. Finally, the legacy of the 2000 penny rests in its place within the long reign of Queen Elizabeth II and within the story of British decimalisation. It represents a period of stability entering the new millennium with traditions intact but adapted to modern needs such as the shift to copper-plated steel. Today, collectors view it as a common yet historically rich piece, a reminder of the turn of the millennium and the enduring symbols of Parliament and monarchy in British life. Thanks for watching my videos. Please subscribe my channel for more videos.